There's a natural conflict, isn't there, in the world of technology between innovation and execution. We see many companies struggling with it. Can both be done well at the same time?
It's funny because it was pointed out to me a few years ago that, one hypothesis is that innovation, if you think about what's the opposite of innovation, a lot of people will say, well, it's the status quo, it's stagnancy. And, there's another school of thought which says that the opposite of innovation is execution. That if you have to be in heads-down execution mode, it's very hard to find the space to innovate, to have those new ideas, and to pull things in. And I know that, for us at Yahoo right now, this is going to be a great period of execution. Can we take these products that we have and revitalize them for the web, and also make the transition to mobile? And while we're doing that execution, will there be room to innovate, to say, hey, this is how Yahoo groups worked on the web, but now there's all these new opportunities in terms of how group communication should work on the phone. Can we actually spot some of those innovative ideas? And I think there is, but it's hard, because I do think that they are natural opposites.
Is size a barrier to innovation?
I don't think so, because I think that you can innovate at scale and with large size, but you have to be very principled about it. If you have, say, 10 engineers and you're going to grow that to be 20 or 30, do you want to be doing the same set of things 2 or 3 times better, or do you want to be doing 2 or 3 times more things? And in terms of really, interestingly, in terms of execution, this is a great example of why they're so much opposites, that if you really wanted to execute perfectly, get the design exactly right, really work through all the details, you'd invest 2 to 3 times as many people per project. If you want to find those new ideas, those far-flung ideas, those things you might not otherwise find, you want to take those same people and put them on something that's far-flung that you've never thought about. And so, it really is that there is this tension. So I think that you can innovate at scale, but you need to save room to have small teams working on those far-flung ideas.
So share with us a little of your experience over the past few months. You arrived to an innovative company, but perhaps there was too much going on, wasn't disciplined enough to the points that you were just making. What have you focused on? What are you most excited about when it comes to innovative technologies, particularly the ones that you have some control over?
Well, I was really, overall, just genuinely pleased and surprised. I knew that there had to be great people at Yahoo. The same way that when you sometimes look at art, you can tell if it was created by a nice person or not, or a depressed person or not. Like when you feel Yahoo's products, you can tell that there's really nice, very smart, competent people there that have a great time. And, and it's true, that it's a great company overall that has a very fun culture. And, for my first few months, my focus really was on people. Because I believe fundamentally that technology companies live and die by talent. And, that's why when people talk about the talent wars, it's not really that some of the companies that are in the talent wars are that competitive with each other. It's just that when you start to see the best people migrating from one company to the next, it means then that the next wave is starting.
You described a couple of months ago how one of your employees asked how Yahoo's going to compete if it doesn't have one of these 4 key distribution technologies. There's the mobile operating system, mobile hardware, the browser, and social. I don't know that we got an answer.
Yeah, well, so it was funny because one of our employees at one of the company meetings asked that, and they said, given that we don't have mobile hardware, a mobile OS, a browser, or a social network, how are we going to compete?
And it's not just a question for Yahoo. Clearly, it's a question for every company that seeks to compete with those others that have those key enabling technologies.
Sure, and of the 4 horsemen of the internet, to adopt that analogy, almost all of them are playing in one, if not several, of those medium. But I think that the big piece here is that it really allows us to partner. Yahoo's always been a very friendly company, has always been, because of our focus also, not in addition to technology, but also on media, it ultimately means that there's really an opportunity for strong partnerships, and that's what we'll be focused on. So we work with, for example, Apple and Google in terms of the operating system. In terms of the social network, we have a strong partnership with Facebook. And so we're able to work with some of these players that have a lot of strength in order to really bolster our user experiences that we offer on the Yahoo site.
What about social? Is the war for social over?
I think that Facebook provides an amazing platform. And so I think that it will be one of the predominant platforms, if not the predominant platform. But now what happens with social is what you do with it. It's not just about writing down who your friends are. It's actually about taking that and finding useful content and telling me, hey, you know, you're in Davos right now. Do you know who else is? Right? And being able to offer me the opportunity to opportunistically meet up with someone who I didn't know would be here.
When people get excited about technology, they often forget about the role of design. Apple taught us. Apple changed the way that many of us interact with technology, interact with the internet itself. And that maybe form can be as important or perhaps more so than function. How much do you think about that? How important is it to what you're doing?
Well, I think about design a lot. I think that, you know, Apple is obviously the gold standard. But I think that in that, you know, Apple's philosophy really is that the design and the technology itself should fall away. And I think that's really true, that a lot of these interaction technologies become really powerful when they do just fall away.